Hello, my name is Tim Wachs, and today we're going to talk about marriage and intimate relationships, Chapter 10 of the Book Adjust. Challenges to the traditional model of marriage. The traditional model of marriage is being challenged by an increasing acceptability of singlehood, the greater popularity of cohabitation, the reduced premium on permanence, changes in gender roles, and increasing prevalence of voluntary childness, and the decline of the traditional nuclear family. Nonetheless, marriage remains quite popular. We ask ourselves, what is marriage? Marriage is the legally and socially sanctioned union of sexually intimate adults. 6 social trends challenging the traditional concept of marriage is increased acceptance of singlehood, increased acceptance of cohabitation, reduced premium on permanence. What we mean by this is premium on permanence is that people are getting, they go into a marriage knowing that they can get divorced rather easily and it is more accepted, more widely accepted. Transitions in gender roles where women are becoming more of the breadwinners than men, and increased voluntary childness, meaning couples that are remaining not to have children, and the decline of the traditional nuclear family. We look at nowadays when we say the traditional nuclear family, meaning a husband and a wife, and they have children. They are legally married. Nowadays, there is more cohabitation of people living together, having children. Gay and lesbian partners that are living together, having children. Single parents and stepchildren. Decisions to marry, cultural influences, mate selection, and predictors of a marriage success. Deciding to marry. Most people want to marry and feel pressured by society that their life is not complete unless they do. This acceptance now is getting less and less as we go on as far as people being single, but there's still people do want to be married. Experts project that over 90% of Americans will marry at least once in their lifetime. Cultural influences. Modern Western culture versus collective cultures. Most modern Western cultures are free to choose one's marital partner, whereas 80% of world collective cultures practice arranged marriages. Mate selection, we look at American culture is a gradual process that begins with dating. Normally, this is a long process that you date someone for a long time before you decide to get married. There are different types of relationships: monogamy, polygamy, anogamy, and homogamy. I believe that's how you say that. Monogamy being the practice of having only one spouse at a time. Polygamy, having more than one spouse at a time. Anogamy, the tendency of people to marry within their own social group. And homogamy, the tendency of people to marry others who have similar personal characters. Predictors of marriage success. There's a lot of different predictors that they've done research on as far as family background, people going into a marriage that have been, their parents have been divorced. Studies have shown that there's a higher tendency of people to get divorced if their parents have been divorced in the past. Age, going into a marriage at a very young age. Statistics show that the older the people are going into a marriage, the longer, the better probability they have at staying together versus a younger age. The length of courtship being that the length of time dating before you get married, showing that the longer the period of time you've dated before getting married seems to have a relationship on how long your marriage success is. The personality of both involved, whether it's a strong personality, aggressive personality, and marital communications, talking about things up front, knowing each other's roles, what they expect, and stressful events that happen in a marriage. It could be a loss of a parent, could be loss of a job. Sometimes catastrophic events like that cause marriages to crumble, and that's another factor at success. Vulnerable areas in a marriage. We looked at the gaps in role expectations, and this tends to talk about the going into a marriage and what roles you feel each person has in a marriage, whether you feel that you're traditional and you're the breadwinner, the husband, and the wife stays home, cooks the meals, raises the children. As long as you both talk about this and are on the same page before you get married. Work and career issues always are vulnerable areas in a marriage. People lose their jobs, they get job transfers. They're too involved with their work and they spend more time at work than they do at home. Um, that causes problems. Financial difficulties, that's been shown on both ways. People that lose their job and maybe have less money, that it causes more stress in their marriage, versus even people that have a lot of money, that the spending habits of one of the, each of the partners does cause difficulties. Inadequate communication, I think, is huge. If you don't communicate with one another, I think that's you're doomed. But my personal opinion. And then we look at a little bit of divorce rates. Divorce rates have increased dramatically in recent decades, but they have appeared to stabilize around 40 to 45% of couples. The mass majority of divorces occurred during the first decade of the marriage, first 10 years, and deciding on a divorce tends to be a gradual process marred by indecision. It shows about the roughest is about 7.5 years is the getting to that point is the highest divorce rates, and then after that it starts dropping. After 10 years, it starts dropping tremendous. That you're going to stay together. Deciding on a divorce, it's a gradual process usually in an unhappy marriage, and adjusting to divorce. There's many different avenues. Once you get a divorce, it does affect the men as well as the women. Statistics show that both show physically and psychological pain adjusting to a divorce, especially if there's children. And there has been many studies that show that divorces do affect the children. A lot of times, in the first in the beginning of the divorce, but as time goes on, that seems to help the children adjust, but sometimes there's long-term effects. Remarriage, the studies show that most people that get divorced get remarried and have step families, and the odds show that the remarriages usually don't last as long as the first marriage, and adjusting when you have stepchildren and so on. Alternative to traditional marriages, there's more and more gay relationships where you have two males or two females, a lesbian relationship. That is becoming more common now versus traditional marriages. Statistics that show even gay couples that have children, there's been no really effects on the children as to the gay. Cohabitation is, once again, just more people living together in a sexual, intimate relationship, even having children, buying homes together, and so on, and not getting married and legally married. Remaining single seems to be another thing that people are into their careers. They're pretty self-centered. I shouldn't say that, but into their careers. And sometimes statistics show that people are getting married later and later in life. Another factor is when we look at this is intimate partner violence, partner abuse. Partner abuse can come in many forms, whether it's sexual abuse or actual abusive, being hit and so on in marriages. With the women, it's not a good thing. Research suggests about 25% of women and 7% of men have been victims of partner abuse. Women are principal victims of serious, dangerous abuse. Men who batter their partners are diverse, but they tend to anger easily, be jealous, and have unrealistic expectations of their partner. Women stay in abusive relationships for a variety of reasons. One, that they feel that it would be economically bad for them, and also even worse as far as them getting killed. Date rape is another, a partner violence. Friends that date friends, and sometimes even if you don't know that friend, and date rape usually comes there's a drug put into an alcoholic drink, and or even just too much alcohol. Alcohol seems to cause a lot of that. Be aware of that. Always be on your guard. If you're dating somebody you don't know at all, maybe it's from online dating, even through friends and social groups, date rape has become very prevalent these days, and you have to really be on your guard